Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 20th of May, and I want to talk again about religion, about what it is we are and what it is we're in, and the truth, the underlying truth that we actually need to see. And that is we need to see ourselves as beings of energy, of vibration, that we are not just solid. We need to know that. And then you can see what religion is actually doing, because it is the directing of energy. There are the few that are managing the affairs of man by directing the energy of man. And really, it is something that we are doing. Yeah, there's something that is being done to us, but we have become willing participants in what is happening. So you must clearly see what was done to you and what it is you are doing in participating in this thing. And then stop doing it, stop participating. Right, so in religion, and here's, I watched two videos this morning, and one was talking about the being God. And saying that that's just something we imagine. No, I don't think so. They are real, all right. There are beings that have elevated themselves to be gods. Now, the old idea, the first thought of God, was the thought of the all, which means God is all beings. Yeah? God, Jesus said, with him everything is created, without him nothing is created. The Father is in all, and in the Father there is no judgment. So it is, in modern terms, the field out of which everything is created, that is within everything, and that everything has its being in. And no part is the all. But there is the teaching of the gods beings, that say we are the only ones. Our will must be done. We are the only creators. That's the mindset of Yaldabaoth, which is a delusion. But that is what religion teaches. It teaches the delusion as the only truth. And then comes that you must give. Here comes, and that's the direction of your energy, your prayer, your works, your thoughts, your words. It all must be given to God. So you're directing all the energy, all of your energy, to the one point, which is in heaven, in the astral zone, in another dimension. Gods used to live on mountains, not anymore, apparently. But that's where you're directing your energy. Everything that you've got must be given to God to make him more powerful and more glorious. And once you've done that, then you are on your knees begging for God to give you something. After you've given him everything you've got, you're begging him to give you something back. Which, after 2,000 years of experience, they don't give back in a big way. They give you enough to keep you alive. But they don't, no. They don't give to you in a big way. But that is how it's worked. It is a teaching, a spiritual teaching, which is actually the direction of energy, where you point your energy to, where you give it. I mean, you can see again, in the spirit first, in the material outcome. This is how this world works. Yeah, you work, you get money, you give all your money to them in taxes, and then you are in the streets demonstrating that they should do something for you after you've given them all your money in the first place. That's how the system works. And that was done deliberately by people that understood how this works. Yeah. So, I mean, quite simply, if you are a being of energy that manifests realities, that creates realities, why do you give all your energy to a God? Why do you not spend your energy on what it is you actually want? What it is you need? On the changes that you actually want to create in your own life? Why is your focus not on that? Why? Because you need God to do it for you. Because you can't do it for yourself. Now, Jesus absolutely taught that that is not the case. Yeah? He said, ye are gods. The I am is God. The I am directs the energy. So why are you giving it to them and then begging them to give back to you? Why do you not spend it on the thing you actually want to change, to occur, to come into being? Religion, again. Don't ask for yourself. Don't go by your own knowing of good and bad. Yeah, don't judge. Again, all judgment has to be given to God. God is the judge. You don't judge for yourself. You don't ask for, you don't ask for yourself. It is sinful to ask for yourself. Self-love, apparently, is the most sinful thing on earth. You must love God more than yourself, your mother, your father, even your own life. It should all be in service to Him. And I tell you something, that is so hard to get out of. It is a structure that you think you're in. It is the pyramid where everything goes to the top. You are in that structure. You see yourself in that structure and you believe, that going up against that structure is sinful because God is almighty and the only one and His will must be done. It's so hard to get out of that. Asking something for yourself, you would feel guilty. I'm for myself. Yeah, I'm thankfully not that indoctrinated that I would think I'm going to hell, that I'm not in terror of eternal damnation and worms eating my eyeballs or whatever. But there are those that are. They are actually in terror of, if they ask something for themselves, that they will go to hell. Just think about that. That is what we've been programmed with. That is a program we need to get out of. That is unindoctrinating. That is truly unindoctrinating from religion. It's where you, out of the system, and it is really just a case of where do you direct your energy? What is your focus? What are you focused on? But I heard another short video this morning and I could have screamed. She was talking about data mining, which is another thing that is going on in this world. And she said, it is in the word. You can hear the word. they're mining our data. Yeah. People, we are truly farmed animals. That is what she said. She said, we are truly, truly farmed animals. That is our truth. How do you know that is your truth? Because the word, they told you with the word. God creates with the word. God tells you the word. And you make that your truth. You made it, and here is the participation. You make it your truth. They are just sowing the seed. They're just giving you the word. But you have to make it your truth. And then it is, as Jesus says, everything receives according to what it is. If you make that your truth, that you are just, I am just a farmed animal and nothing else, you will receive according to that. As within, so without. If that is your truth within, it will be reflected back at you outside. That is the reality your truth will create. And so, they've given you the word. Believe, folks, believe. Believe. The power of your belief. Make yourself the farmed animal and you will receive according to it. We are more than that. We are not animals. We can make ourselves into animals, but there are other possibilities within us. Can we choose to be something else, please? Now, but that is how they farm your energy. They do farm your energy, absolutely. And you're giving it to them freely. You're participating. You're directing your energy in the way that you were directed by them to do. Now, I want to go a little bit further out, just for a moment. And there's this idea in this world now that our esteemed leaders are in contact with entities out of this world. Aliens. Call them aliens. Why not? Extraterrestrials. Yeah? And again, they seem, from what we hear, whistleblowers and such, they seem to be receiving knowledge of those beings that are out there. Technology at the moment, in a big way, it seems. Now, I am thinking, just for myself, that our esteemed leaders are not in contact with benevolent beings that give them all that knowledge out of the goodness and the love of their heart, that they want payment for what it is they're giving, the knowledge that they're giving. That our esteemed leaders have struck a deal, you know, the art of the deal. And I'm also thinking that those extraterrestrial beings are not being paid with fiat money. We're the only ones dumb enough to take that one. So what are they being paid with? Energy in exchange for knowledge? Are our esteemed leaders selling our energy in return for knowledge? Our life energy, the energy of our being, are they selling that for knowledge? And again, how do they get that energy to those beings? By directing it. You go to church, your energy is being directed toward a point. That is how they farm your energy. Through your belief. Through creating a point where you then yourself are sending that energy. So how do we get out of this? Again, not in the material world. Spirit is the cause, material is the effect. And there's not, as far as the material world is concerned, they're pretty much in control, I would say. So what do? Go into the street and demonstrate by the thousands. We just had one in London again. How wonderful. We're all in the street shouting. They're not listening. They're not moving. So what the hell are you doing? They will not listen. They will not move. They have no intention of doing so. So what are you doing? I mean, in a way, you could probably see that that march itself, again, created a lot of energy that they have probably sent someone or used in some way. It really is simply ask for yourself. Ask for your loved ones. Ask for your neighbor. Stop giving your energy to them. Don't fight them. Don't fight them. Walk away. Turn your back and walk away and start believing and start praying for something that will actually serve you. And don't feel guilty for doing so. Don't be in fear of hellfire and damnation for doing so. This is who you are. I am. We are beings of energy. We are creators. Ye are gods. That is what Jesus taught you. The only reason why they can farm us like dumb animals is because we behave like dumb animals. A lot of that out of ignorance. Because the knowledge of who we are and how this truly works was suppressed. It's not our fault. A lot of it is not our fault. As I said, we were programmed, indoctrinated into that, and the true knowledge was withheld. But if this is now an awakening, and we wake up to the truth of ourselves, Jesus said, if you do it with your eyes closed, it's not accounted to you for sin. Which is, I don't know how you see sin then. I mean, it still creates an outcome. Even if you do it unknowingly, it still creates an outcome. Yeah, your energy is directed and it will work something, whether you know what you're doing or not. But he says, once your eyes are open, once you know the truth, you are in sin. If you do it knowingly, you are in sin. And then again, I would say those that create spiritual teachings to direct spiritual energy, they do it knowingly, they are in sin. That's evil. Doing it with your eyes open knowingly is evil. And those teachings are evil. Somebody said the Bible is an evil spell. Actually, there's both the truth and the other in it. They're both in there. But at least part of it, is an evil spell. Yes. You are like a deer in the headlight, and they're directing your energy into that false light. Snap out of it. Be selfish. Just heard this morning, is there something out there that has your back? Have your own back. Don't look out there for something to have your back. Do it yourself. You want love. Love yourself. That is the first place love has to be, is within yourself. And then it comes as within, so without. If there's no love in you, it will not be reflected back to you. Be yourself. Be your truth. Stop listening to the truth of some god in the astral zone. Don't make him the judge. Be of sound judgment yourself. You know good and bad. And believe. That is what we must do. We must believe that we will receive. That they all gifts. according to what we are. And then take a really hard look at yourself. And if you're running around this world and I'm truly a farmed animal, please change your mind. That is repentance. Please change your mind about what it is you are. And you might receive something different. This is the works we must do now, and it is hard work. I'm telling you, it is hard work to get out of this indoctrination, to get out of the feeling of guilt and of fear and of, oh God, I shouldn't ask for myself. Selfish is sinful. No, selfish is not sinful. Everything receives according to itself. That is not sinful. That is how it is. That is the underlying reality that we are no longer in, and that we must return to the truth. Anyway, here, folks, I leave it at that for today, and I talk to you again soon.